Oh, hey, everybody, it's me. We're not talking about animals on drugs or a bad song by Billy Joel in the 70s. Welcome to Respawn Name Fire, the kick-ass Reverend Gaming podcast from Affable Idiots. I'm one of your hosts, Adam. He didn't start the fire, Gumbert. And today I have with me Chad. Name another Billy Joel song, Michael Ennis.
Here's why we all should be excited for 65. I heard y'all while I was taking a pee-pee talking about 65, and Alex, I know you were throwing shit at those trailers. Here's why we should all be excited for 65, because it is going to finally wrestle free the stranglehold on dinosaurs that Jurassic World has. Those Jurassic World movies are garbage, shitty caca, but there are no other good dinosaur movies. They have a stranglehold on the genre, and this is finally going to wrestle that away from them and give them some competition and make them be better. So I'm excited.
I understand that, Chad, but something that we were also talking about ahead of the podcast is that you've seen Cocaine Bear, which is a movie that I've not yet seen. I need to go and see it. You didn't love that movie. Thing about Cocaine Bear, beautiful premise, amazing premise, one of the best premises ever for a movie, but ultimately in execution, you didn't feel like it really amounted to that much. I feel like it's a similar situation with 65. Amazing premise, but like, I don't know, man. I feel like this has egg salad sandwich written all over it.
Ooh. And we also have with us
sandwich.
Yeah, that's a good one. We also
you know what that comes from?
Go ahead.
Hold on. I just want to get this out of the way. That comes from an episode of the Magic School Bus where they're learning about the way that chickens are born. Okay. And I don't remember, like, Miss Frizzle is talking about how, like, eggs are laid by the chickens and then they need to be fertilized by the hens. No, by the roosters, by the male chickens. You get what I'm getting at. But the kids don't fully understand that. And they're like, this egg over here, is it going to hatch into a chicken? And she's like, no, it has egg salad sandwich written all over it because it's not fertilized. It's just going to be an egg.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that Adam Driver is sterile and has no sperm and cannot fertilize this movie.
Yeah, he thinks he's a rooster, but he's just a cock.
Oh, wow. Same thing. Today we have with us Alex. He hates Adam Driver for no particular reason. Cosina.
I mean, like I said earlier, I've only seen him in 3 movies, and I only liked 1.5 of them.
But he's such a big, buff, sexy boy, though. He's such a wide man.
He is a very wide man.
I guess so.
I also like how his face just subtly curves like a crescent moon. Mm-hmm. Next time you watch a movie with him, you're like, oh, like he could probably lay on his side and hold a little bit of water.
Jesus Christ. Catch us on twitch.tv/AffableIdiots Sunday evenings at 8:30. YouTube and podcast services Tuesday mornings, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Around
if
there.
You're looking for a birthday gift for me next year on February 17th, get me a ceramic bowl in the shape of Adam Driver's head that I can eat soup out of.
Get Adam Driver's face from Marriage Story where he's punching the wall, so he looks angry, but you can still put a little bit of water in there.
You know, when people
or make it
like,
one of those heat-sensitive ones where you put the soup in it, and it goes from being happy to angry.
You know when people are like, oh man, these animals kind of look like celebrities. I feel like you can do that with a lot of animals with Adam Driver's face. Like you can just show like 100 pictures of dogs, and I feel like 75% of them you're like, oh man, if they ever made a movie in which Adam Driver transforms into a dog, they could use that dog.
Adam Driver and Animorphs reboot confirmed.
Oh shit.
Oh man.
I believe Joseph Gordon-Levitt was in that show, and he killed a Nazi in the books. Chad, before we get to our main quest, I don't know if anything I just said was true. Before we get to our main quest, I've got a bone to pick with you.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Alex, come along for the ride. Alex, I want you to go on Twitter right now.
Okay. Should I go on Twitter already?
No, Chad, you don't need to go. You've already known what you've done. I like you to go to... I like you to go to @TuckerHazel. I know you know this man.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He made a tweet recently just talking about what's an iconic game that you don't like, or that you don't get them necessarily. Not saying it's for you. He put up a picture of Mario. I think it's World?
Super Mario World, yeah.
Super Mario World.
Super Mario World, yeah.
He put a picture of Halo 2.
And
Red Dead.
Halo 2, Red Dead, and Metroid Prime.
And then I look down here in their comments, and it's fucking Chad Mike Innes on Twitter. being a big goofball, and here he goes. Picture of Red Dead 2. I know he didn't love that game. That's fine. I'll give it to him. Picture of The Witcher 3. Interesting, I guess, for no real reason. Zelda Breath of the Wild. I know that, but then let's go to the last one. Far Cry 5. And then
Far Cry 4.
all the replies,
Far Cry 4.
Oh, excuse me, 444 with Pagan Man. Yes. And all the replies are, I sense a trend, not a fan of open world gaming. And then B-Rent says, Chad, why do you hate good open world games? I don't understand it.
They're just they're not good. They're not good. Far Cry 4. Far Cry 4 is like the very first barf game that we decided in unison, like let's give up on this. Let's just give up and stop where we are because we don't want to finish it. It's just open world games. You know me. Open world. Here's spoilers. I've kind of open worlded myself to death in Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, you're done with that now because of the open world?
I don't think I'm done, but I've
no
lost
longer
a lot
there.
of the interest because nice, Alex. Because I've gone and done so many fucking clear out icons on the map and clear out side quests that now I've completely lost sight of what I'm doing, why I'm there, and why this is important at all. And it's just like that's what open world games do to me, especially ones that are huge like The Witcher, where it's just like it's a lot of fluff and nonsense. That it's all things that just don't matter, and that they can't possibly write 400 good side quests, but there are 400 side quests to do.
You haven't played The Witcher 3, obviously.
So I have watched Holden play The Witcher 3 for a few hours. And yeah, not a fan. And I played a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2 for that barf game, and it was
Red Dead was great.
No,
you're right. Nobody likes it. 98 Metacritic. 30 million copies sold. Nobody likes
Listen,
Red Dead
Adam. The point of the thing is, what are the things that everyone really loves that you just can't click with? And that was
I know.
Honest.
I'm just giving you a hard time. I saw it on Twitter and I was like, I'm not going to respond to this. I have to bring it up on the podcast. You aren't that bad. I understand yours. This other guy, Bad Take Central. Which is a great,
very apt name, yeah.
They put up Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Okay,
I have a feeling if I played that, I also wouldn't like it. So,
well, you probably wouldn't, but again, a lot of people do. That's fine. Batman Arkham City, Dishonored, and then Pokemon Black. I don't know if it's just Pokemon in general, maybe it's just that game. But then immediately, Tucker said your username does not disappoint, which I thought was hilarious.
I mean, I feel like that guy's got a lot of good points.
You don't like Batman?
I do like Batman Arkham City. I feel like I wouldn't like Pokemon Black for all the reasons why I don't like most other Pokemon games. Mm-hmm. And what was the third game?
Dishonored.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, you don't, because the hands are big.
Hands are way too big. That guy's got good taste.
So Chad's on the side of history with Bad Take Central. So everyone remember that part. I just noticed
I'm
John
trying
Hanson.
to think.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm trying to think what my four.
That's why I was going to bring it up.
What would be?
I don't need four, but do you have anything?
Zelda Breath of the Wild is definitely
big
on
one
there.
for this guy too.
I'm going to give that game another shot later this year, but for now that's on the list. I would say game number 2, a little bit of a deep cut. I would say the entire Pokemon Mystery Dungeon spin-off series. I don't know if either of you have played this series.
I know what they are.
Yeah, they're like these dungeon crawling spin-offs. So the thing about these spin-offs, real quick, they have amazing stories. Like, I have no disagreement on that point. They have actually really solid stories, like way better than you would expect out of a Pokemon game. But I find the gameplay almost insufferable. Like, it is really not good, and it's just so monotonous and long. And yet people like hardcore advocate for those games nowadays. But I just have never been able to fall in love with them. I don't know what 3 and 4 would be.
Can I add a fifth one to mine? Ghost of Tsushima. Get out of here, Ghost of Tsushima.
I thought you were in love with that video game.
No. I played 40 hours of that game and was like, I'm done. I'm not going to finish this shit.
Jesus. I guess if I had to go with a number 3, I would go with, I mean, it feels a little bit unfair, but like the original Halo. Just because it's not exactly a shooter that I've found has aged super well nowadays.
I wouldn't say it ages well either.
I feel like there are a lot of people that would agree with me on that point. So
yeah.
And then I don't know what number 4 would be.
Yeah, I don't have a list because my gaming tastes are perfect. But again, we all agree on Breath of the Wild. I do want to point out John here from Pixel Street. He doesn't like every Souls-like game. Always like the worlds and themes. Hate the gameplay so much. Feels chunky and slow. I agreed with him. It's an Elden Ring, and I was like, oh, they finally figured it out. That I also am the Elden Lord, so maybe a little bit biased.
You're biased for sure.
Yeah, just a little bit. Okay, that's it for what am I talking about? Billy Joel? No. All right. Upcoming on today's show, we've got some news about DLC, some news about video games on Game Boy. There's really not a lot. We're being honest with you kids. But on our main quest, Pokemon announcements. The Tramps from Ryan Dinsdale at IGN.
Tramps. Fucking filthy mouth.
He can't help himself. So now what I did here, there's Pokemon Present. And I'm not going to pretend to be a person on the internet, but a lot of people on the internet didn't seem happy. So I picked out the things that were interesting to add them. If you guys want to talk about Pokemon Sleep Forever or whatever, we can do that at the end.
Sorry, hold on. I don't mean to interrupt the rushing train, but I would say that my fourth game on the list that we were discussing earlier would probably be specifically the Sega Genesis Sonic games. I actually quite enjoy Sonic as a whole. I had a lot of fun with Sonic Frontiers last year. I enjoyed Sonic Colors quite a bit back in the day. The 3 Sega Genesis 2D Sonic games, Sonic 1, 2, and 3, have never been able to get in the groove of them.
Interesting. For you defend that series so much, I assumed you liked all of them.
No, I tried those games and I'm just like, it just doesn't, it's not working for me.
We got to put a Sonic on Barf. Give Alex a reason to go play him again as a grown-up.
Why would we torture all of us
I didn't even play those games that much, so it's not like it would be that torturous, but yeah.
All right, very interesting. All right, so, like I said, I only picked out the things that were interesting to me from this Pokemon Presents. I know, Alex, I'm sure you paid attention to it. Chad, if you did. You could throw in the stuff at the end. But I looked at that list, that breakdown, and I was like, well, man, I guess I'll pick out this stuff. But that's just me. I'm the one writing it. You guys can bring it up. So, first... again, from RyanDinsdale.IGN.com, he thinks you're all horse. Pokemon Scarlet. That's what a tramp is.
He thinks you're all horse.
Is it?
Yeah.
Isn't it from the...
No, the Disney movie is not Lady and the Whore.
No. Look up the real definition while I read this story. Go on Urban Dictionary if you have to. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are getting expansions, delivering 2 major chunks of story content to the games later this year. The Hidden Treasures of Area Zero expansion will feature 2 separate DLCs, the Teal Mask, Fall of 2023, and the Indigo Disc, Winter 2023. This is a quote. In the Teal Mask, players will be chosen to take part in a school trip that is held each year in collaboration with another school. They'll be taken to the land of Kitakami, where a great mountain tower is over the land and the people live at its base. The Pokemon Company also revealed that more than 230 Pokemon previously unavailable in Scarlet and Violet will be released across the 2 expansions or become available through other means. Part 2, the Pokemon Company has announced Pokemon TCG Classic, a premium Pokemon card product inspired by the original base set. Revealed in a follow-up blog post, the Pokemon Company confirmed that Pokemon TCG Classic will be released in late 2023, includes a foldable game board, a toolbox for storing counters, 3 decks, starring Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise, and 3 deck boxes. The decks won't all be classic cards, however, as the Pokemon Company also confirmed that never before seen cards like Ho-Oh X and Lugia X, or is it Lugia X?
Lugia.
I always forget.
Lugia.
Will feature alongside the base set classics to liven up the gameplay. So there was a couple of things I thought, to me, I was like, these things are cool. But did you guys care about anything else, or do you want to talk more about these things?
So I'm looking here at the Oxford Dictionary. A tramp is a person who travels from place to place on foot in search of work or as a vagrant or beggar.
Mm-hmm.
And Cambridge University's dictionary, because for some reason a university has its own dictionary, says a woman who has sex often with a lot of different partners.
There you go.
There we go. The thing that tickled my pickle the most of this entire presentation was the classic Pokemon trading card game Classic. I am a person who has not dabbled in Pokemon cards since I was a wee lad, and we stole my neighbor Clark's Japanese Eevee card and got all of our cards taken away and never saw them again. They're gone. So I have not since then touched a Pokemon card. But holy shit, Adam, the whole presentation of this with the case that unfolds and the way that the case unfolds and becomes the battle mat and all, it is just like, it is so premium and sexy looking. And then all of the cards are foil. Like, this is something that I might just straight up buy and like hang on my, like, frame on my wall somehow as a shadow box or something, because it is so sexy looking. And apparently all of the decks are like not tournament legal either because of some reason. So like it's purely a collector's item basically. But yeah, that looks sexy as fuck. But I made a joke like when they announced the Pokemon Presents. I can't remember whether I made it on here or whether I made it while we were playing Destiny together, but I made a joke like, what are you looking forward to? I hope they bring up Pokemon Sleep. They spent a long time on Pokemon Sleep.
They did. And sleep for Pokemon now.
What's dumb is that they didn't tell you what it does. It's literally just an app that you say, I'm going to sleep now, and then you sleep, and then you say, I'm awake now, and it's like, cool, you slept. And it's like, okay, but what? But why? And then it's like, oh, well, you slept kind of like a Pikachu. So here's a Pikachu. You slept kind of like a Bulbasaur. So here's a Bulbasaur is going to wake up with you. And if you try hard enough or you sleep weird enough, you might wake up with a Slowpoke. And it's like, but like, why does this matter? And like, oh, it's going to have integration with Pokemon Go, but they don't tell us what or why or when. And then they release this stupid ass fucking peripheral for it. The Pokemon Go Plus. Spelled two different ways, plus PLUS, and then the symbol plus.
Yes,
plus
it's like,
yeah,
I hate it.
That's why they put that stuff down here. It's weird,
but I
love it.
It's a wild peripheral that lets you walk around and throw balls and spin discs by pushing it instead of having your phone open. So
I love it, and I am really looking forward to checking out Pokemon Sleep. I think it's going to be a good time.
Now, don't get me wrong.
Really
don't get me wrong. As soon as they tell me how it integrates with Pokemon Go, you bet your ass I'm downloading that thing and I'm sleeping with the fishes. By that I mean Magikarps, yeah. But yeah, it's just another thing. It's another alarm clock. You say I'm going to bed now, and then wake me up at 7:30. That's it.
What if they wake you up with the 8-bit screams, where you're like, instead of your alarm like ding 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 ding, whatever your alarm is, it's just like. And it wakes you up?
Well, the great. Pokemon Go Plus peripheral does have a Pikachu inside of it, and it can wake you up with different Pikachu. Like, it can go, Pika, or it can sing you lullabies. It goes, Pikachu, Pikachu. Like, it does shit like that. So
I want the one for
like
Game Boy.
Like Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah,
what about
sound
Alex, anything interest you? I know you haven't played Scarlet or Violet yet, but are these DLCs cool or no? Or
if the rumors are true that we're going to get a Switch successor at the end of the year that is going to boost performance by quite a bit and make the games a little bit more bearable, I'll probably be playing these games at the end of the year. We will definitely see. Outside of that, just Pokemon Sleep. That was my only real thing of interest from this Direct.
Yeah, we got stuff on like Pokemon Unite and fucking the EX.
Zacians in it.
Whatever.
Cool. Yeah. I also learned how to say Zacian for the first time watching that. So,
I mean, you saw me struggle with the name of this island they're going to.
Yeah,
Kitakami.
Kitakami.
All right, that's it for main quest. Or I guess we'll move on to playtime. Playtime. What have you been playing? Playtime. Hey, Chad.
Adam, I played a little bit of Doom Eternal this week.
Oh, you did? Interesting.
Yeah. I didn't play all of it, but I still liked what I played. You can listen to our thoughts on that on our Barf episode, which we just recorded. So go check out that. And I also played a little bit of Hogwarts Legacy. We already talked about that at the beginning of the show. I'm feeling disenchanted. I'm going to get back into it, and I'm going to mainline it. I'm going to mainline the quest. But on Tuesday, Destiny 2 Lightfall was released to the world, which is the next big expansion after Destiny Witch Queen came out. So we've been playing that, and we've been doing it in groups of 3. Jerica, Audrey, and Joel in one group, me, Matt, and Dallas in another group, and we all just link up in a PlayStation party chat while we play through the campaign together on legendary difficulty. So there are 2 kind of parts to this.
Okay, before you go on, I know you're going to talk about it. I want to hear about this. Maybe it's just a me thing. Maybe it's just... I'll ask both of you guys. Does the word strand bother you?
No, it does not.
Like, I don't like the idea of the word strand. Like, it gives me a weird feeling in my body when someone's... Like, Death Stranding didn't like it for multiple reasons, but the name... I don't like strand. It sounds like sounding to me, which is also disturbing.
That's the thing where they put the thing in the penis?
Yeah.
No.
So I feel like strand is the same thing as sounding, and it's just really...
I kind of get it. It kind of sounds like when you say strand, you kind of think of like the strands of cheese that are clinging to like a piece of pepperoni pizza when you pull it away.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie.
It's not a big deal for me, though.
Honestly, the very first thing I think of, it's the German word for beach.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. So
you just say it much more angrily, though, because it's German.
Right, of course, yeah.
But anyways, continue. You're about talking about Destiny Lightfall.
So there are two parts of the game that I'm going to talk about. There's the campaign, the 8 missions, I think. 8 missions of the campaign. And then there's the Strand subclass, which is putting ropes down your penis. And and the new planet of Neomora. Sorry, Neptune's the planet, Neomora's the city. Campaign, we're going to start there. And big old thumbs down, pooty, whoopee cushion noise.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Been hearing that.
Yeah. Dallas brought up a good point that it's just like Witch Queen was so fucking good that it's impossible to follow that up and succeed with anything else. But what was this whole season was set up, or this whole expansion was set up on the back of us finally finding and killing one of the 3 hive gods, Savathun, in the Witch Queen. And so we're hunting her down, we're killing her. The hive have the light. It's this like huge threat. And then in the seasons after that launched, coming up to this, we have the Cabal coming in. Zivo Arath is this other giant worm god, the last surviving worm god that we have to kill. Sending forces, we have this like universe-ending conflict with Rasputin and the War Minds. And then we have the Witness, who is like here. The Traveler leaves Earth's atmosphere, and we no longer see it, and it is like, fuck, shit's about to go down. And this campaign, Adam, starts with an epic cinematic. And then it's a whole lot of fucking nothing. Nothing matters from the start of this campaign to the end of it. And then the very last cutscene of the last part of the campaign was like, okay, that's the next step. Like, you finally took one tiny baby foot forward in this entire narrative. The rest of it is all like, we're introduced to these new people on Neptune, the Cloud Striders, and there's this big MacGuffin called the Veil, which the Veil is like, that's the entire campaign is around finding the Veil, securing the Veil, keeping the Cabal away from the Veil, and then making sure that Callus doesn't get the Veil. And we don't know what the Veil is. They never explain what the Veil is. It's just like, we have to protect the Veil at all costs, and we get there, and like somebody's like holding this thing, and it's like, what the fuck is the Veil, and why do I care about it? And even in the post game, no, nothing. Like all these extra quests and things like that, they give more life to the city itself and to the people. I have no idea what the fuck the Veil is and why it matters.
You know what it sounds like?
What?
The way that those other seasons ended with, again, the Traveler leaving, which is a thing that's... It feels like that should have been the end of Destiny 2, and this should be the beginning of Destiny 3. Where so it's like we're restarting from the beginning.
I mean, we're heading towards... They've already announced that we have Lightfall, and the next expansion next year is called The Final Shape. And they have said that is the end of the saga between Light and Dark, the Traveler versus the Witness. So, like, we know this is all coming to an end. The thing that Destiny's been about since it launched a decade ago, we know that's coming to an end next year. But that doesn't mean Destiny 2 is coming to an end, but...
Well, hasn't Bungie gone on record saying that, like, they didn't even want to do Destiny 2? That, like, they would have preferred to have just had it be Destiny the entire way through, but Activision kind of forced their hand with Destiny 2?
I don't know if that's the case, but I do know that they don't want to do a Destiny 3. Like, they want to keep it all one evolving, continuing sandbox. Yeah. So yeah, I was really let down by that story. It was so the campaign, big old thumbs down. It was still fun to play most of it, but it was frustrating because throughout it you only get it. You have to play through the entire campaign in order to get access to the new subclass Strand. And so Strand is your ability. It's this green subclass. You're like playing with threads, and you're grappling and hooking onto things in other dimensions. And you're weaving as a warlock. I have like all these little minions that come out that I can go and attack people, and it's really cool subclass. And I think it adds a lot of cool gameplay elements, especially for the warlock class. People who are Titans are not impressed with it, and they're very upset by it because it's so similar to two other subclasses that already exist for it.
Oh, boo-hoo, I'm a Titan.
And hunters are like, yeah, this is pretty cool, I guess. But warlocks, it's a dope class for warlocks. But you have to play through the whole campaign in order to get it, and you only get you get little pieces of it in the campaign where you're kind of forced to use it, but you don't have access to the full subclass. You can't customize it in a way that feels good to your playstyle, so you're forced to use it in the way that they want you to use it at any given moment. And it's frustrating at times, especially if you're not a warlock. It's frustrating to have to use it in those moments. But once you do unlock it, and you grind and get all of the fragments and aspects that let you like really customize the class, it is a lot of fun to play. And I can already see like several different builds that I'm experimenting with right now, how I'm going to continue to use those. Speaking of builds, there are a ton of quality of life improvements that launched with Lightfall, including the ability to, like, they did a whole overhaul of the mod system in the game. So like what used to have mods that, like, you don't have to know what these are, but charge with light mods that are their own separate things that, like, you get charged with light and then you expend that. And then there's also wells, which are similar to charge with light, but they're kind of their own thing. And then there's war mine cells, which used to be really important, but now they're nerfed so much that they don't really matter, but they're still in there clogging up your mods. And now everything is all around one thing now called armor charge. And so it's really cool the way that they overhauled that and allowed you to make and save and customize builds and loadouts in the UI rather than having to use a third-party app now. So that's a huge improvement there that I'm super interested in. So that's exciting. And then there's this cool new thing called Guardian ranks too that allow people to visibly see your commitment to the game. Like Chad has done legendary Lost Sector solo and not died, or Chad has shepherded X amount of people through a raid, and so that contributes towards your rank as well, which is now the new visible number that people are seeing next to your name. So some cool quality of life stuff. The last thing I'll talk about is Neomuna, which is the city that everything is on Neptune. And it is while it is it is not densely populated, obviously, except for by enemies. So it doesn't feel like a lived-in city, but all of the radio chatter and things about the city do add context and make it lived in. So there's quests after the campaign where you're learning about the previous Cloud Striders and what they did and how they protect the city. There's a Lost Sector in it that's based on, it's in an esports arena, and there's an arcade and some of the goblins. Neptune? Yeah, and some of the goblins that are in there, they don't attack you because they're busy playing arcade games, and and there's cool dialogue. We're like, what is this, an esports thing? And the Cloud Strider's like, yeah, I mean, we're in war all the time. We got to do something to blow off steam, so we got to all rally around esports. So the idea is that this is a group of the Neptunians. They're a group of people called the Ishtar Collective that during the collapse, you don't have to know any of this information, but during the collapse, they took off into space in hopes of finding somewhere else to live. And we just assumed on Earth that they died and that they did not succeed. And turns out they landed on Neptune and have started the society. So yeah, they're Earth people. They have Earth traditions and technology and all that kind of stuff, but they're just hanging out on Neptune. So yeah, I like the game. I like the new quality of life improvements a lot. I like a lot of the post-game quests. I think are cool and interesting as far as the lore and building out that city's culture and stuff like that. The campaign though, is a big old stinker. It's a big old stinker. Yeah, I was really let down by it. Especially the last thing I'll say about it before I let one of y'all talk is Callus has been. Callus was this big giant Jabba the Hutt looking fuck who, when Destiny 2 launched, they had their first raid was the Leviathan raid, and he's this big figure who's giving you all sorts of challenges, and you go to fight him in the Leviathan raid. Turns out he's just got a ton of automatons. And then
I fought him on 2 different occasions, and it still gets at me that I wasn't able to make the second encounter with him work, because that would have awarded me with a very hard to get trophy, but we didn't make it happen.
Yeah. So the whole like year leading up to this thing has been about making Callus scary. He has this derelict of Leviathan came back about 9 months ago, and it's like this haunted thing filled with nightmares. And then he's been like built up as this disciple of the Witness, and the Witness is like the main dark figure that is the antagonist of the whole series. And he's just been like, all right, he's the Witness's little pet, and he's been building him up as this like huge, scary, really powerful, evil guy. And we get here, and he's just a fucking doofus. He is just like he's so clearly a pawn of the Witness, and he's just like a bumbling idiot. And it completely ruined it for me. Like this whole year of stuff leading up to it is now just ruined with him being an idiot. So yeah, that's it. That's my thoughts on Destiny 2 Lightfall.
All right, very
that
good.
being said, I played like 25 hours of it in the last.
Well, come on,
knows
let's
how many
not be
days.
silly. It is Destiny. You gotta play it.
Yeah.
Alex, what did you play?
All the Dooms. Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods Part 1, and The Ancient Gods Part 2. That's all.
I wonder why you did that for.
Oh, I wonder why. Perhaps it's our episode of Backlog Accomplishment with Respawn and Friends, which if you're listening to this on YouTube after the fact, should also be on our YouTube channel.
Look at that. Hey, by the way, Chad, side note.
Yeah.
Do you see how fucking good that segue was? I'm like a professional
Yeah, dude.
host.
Yeah.
Like,
when we have
good job.
awards at the end of the year,
I'll win one.
we'll give one to you.
I hope so. I hope at least the finalists.
That one segue you did on March 5th, that award goes to Adam.
I hope I'm top 3 host on the show at least. All right. So as for me, I've been done a couple things. So number 1, I played and finished Hi-Fi Rush.
Ooh.
Which was the shadow drop that came out earlier this year, because a little friend of mine up in the Great North, good friend of mine, lives in Canada. Not Alex Gozina, Jacob McCourt from Left Behind Game Club. No, not Santa as well.
Is Jacob actually in Canada? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
he is. Yeah,
he's from
we had him
Canada.
on Press While I See because he was like another Canada native that we wanted to have on the episode.
Yeah, he's great. And he just said, hey, maybe you should play and finish Hi-Fi Rush. Maybe that'll be a thing at some point in the future. So I played and beat that game. Maybe that'll come out the podcast with Jacob McCourt one of these days. I can't say. I don't know if he's announced anything. So that was cool. Very cool game. Holy shit, guys. I mean, if I ever talk about it with Jacob, I'll talk about more. But man, it's good. Again, I said this is all regurgitated from Barf. Oh, give me more nominations. But yeah, it's like the rhythm-based gameplay feels like excellent. It's like the combat is so good because it makes you want to play on beat, and it forces you to play on beat, and it's great, and it feels wonderful to play. You feel like a badass. There is a level, I will say, there are 2 levels in this game. There's a level that's literally fucking Persona 5. And I'm not kidding. You're in a fucking museum doing a heist, and there's fucking jazz music playing. And I'm like, holy shit, they literally just did Persona 5 for this level. Awesome. It's great. And then there's another level where you it's classical. I think it's fucking I don't want to say who it is. There's a classical artist like a Mozart, like a Bach, like that kind of era
Chopin,
of a person.
Debussy,
Cezanne?
All of that.
Duraflame.
Yeah, sure. Rembrandt. He was actually a painter. And a toothpaste. But no, there's a fight that's centered around a classical music piece, and holy shit, is it fucking good. Oh man, it's really honestly, I think it's probably my favorite boss fight. I mean, of the year. It's so early on, but I'm like this game kicks ass. Like that boss fight is so amazing. But anyways,
you know how sometimes you can get paint in like toothpaste tubes, you know, like oil or acrylic or that kind of stuff. Like, you think they ever accidentally mix up Rembrandt brand paint, if that exists, like artist paint, with Rembrandt toothpaste, and people put toothpaste on the toothbrush?
I imagine artists just have like 2 like little cups of stuff, and they put it out, and they're like, "Oh, it's paint." And they smile, and their mouth is red.
Well, you know,
or whatever.
they paint in the bathroom because it's next to the sink and it's easy to wash out the brushes. So that's why they're next to each other.
Yeah. I imagine that. I'm sure there's an Adam Driver movie where he accidentally puts paint on his toothbrush, and Alex will never watch it.
Probably not.
I also played Doom Eternal because we talked about it. A very fun game, very cool. And then the last thing, this is funny. I never thought I would say this, but there's a game I'm playing that I cannot say what it is because I'm playing it for a review.
Ooh.
And they said, don't speak about it until this specific date. And that specific date is not here yet. So just know,
Ooh,
I'm doing a RAF review. It'll probably come out sometime later this week. I wish. Holy shit. Rockstar's
Metroid
like,
Prime
keep that away from Alex.
4.
I would love that. If they're like, hey, keep these games away from Chad, keep them away from Alex, you play them. Like,
Starfield 2.
Already. I'm there. But no, that review should be coming out later this week. First on Patreon, and then it'll go live for everybody else. But I do have a review coming up that I can't talk about until tomorrow. But on the day the podcast released, I might be able to talk more about it. That's it for me. That's it. That's all we do. Poop, 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 poop. All right, moving on to our quest log. First up, The Elden Lord returns from Robert Anderson at IGN. And yes, I am here. I am still the Elden Lord. It'll never go away. I've got that till the day I die. From Software.
When we give out awards at the end of the year, we'll give out the Elden Lord Award, yeah.
Lord of the Year. Goes to fucking Trevor. From Software has officially announced Shadow of the Erd Tree, an upcoming DLC expansion for Elden Ring. The developer confirmed the DLC is currently in development, but no release date has been announced for the time being. This news comes just days after Elden Ring's 1-year anniversary, in which it sold over 20 million copies and received unprecedented Game of the Year awards. So that's cool. There's an image on Twitter of what, there's like, hey, Shadow of the Erd Tree, here's an image of it. It's like all the news. Go ahead.
I've decided that when I return to Elden Ring to finish it, I'm just going to rely on a guide to figure out where I got to go next. Because the thing that tripped me up with that game that ultimately resulted in me just moving away from it is I wasn't certain where it is that I ultimately needed to go about 20 hours in. And so I just started walking in a direction and completing every single side quest and side minutia I came across. And eventually I just got to a point where I'm like, this is enjoyable, but I feel like I'm making zero progress.
See, you open worlded yourself out of this thing, just like I did with every open world game. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was still enjoying Elden Ring on a level more than some other bland open world games that I wasn't able to kind of click with. But yeah, when I come back to this game, I'm gonna try to golden path it as much as possible. As much as I don't love consulting a guide when I play games.
No, I have a very specific map that would be like, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, if you want to play the game. I think I used it when I played it because I'm enjoying exploring, but I don't enjoy it that fucking much. So yeah, I absolutely followed a guide and did 100% of everything. But anyways, that's all the news is here's a picture and we're doing the DLC. No surprise to anybody, but this is for the Elden Ring fans out there, you fucking nerds. I went to a little site called Game Rant, and they had a theory. This kind of the theory that's been going around the internet anyways. So, I'll read this here. As Elden Ring is following in the footsteps of previous Soulsborne games, which typically feature expansion packs that take place in the past or future, it's extremely likely that Shadow of the Erd Tree will have a different timeline to the vanilla game. In further evidence of this, eagle-eyed fans have noticed that the figure riding Torrent, in the picture, there's a big tree in the background. There's a bunch of fields. There's somebody sitting on a horse. All right. Notice that the figure riding Torrent in the concept art for the expansion pack appears to be Mikola, the twin brother of Melania. It is therefore speculated the new story will explore the memory of Mikola in a time long before current events. So basically, he's this very important character in the game, and this would probably be set in the past because he's riding the horse. And there's a bunch of theories to back it up, if you watch a 3-hour-long YouTube video, they'll tell you this. The main thing about this is cool because, hey, we know the time period maybe, but also this is the character of the brother, the hardest boss fight a From game has ever had, Melania. Everyone remembers
you beat
that.
it in 1 try or something like that?
I beat it in 3 tries, no problem, by myself. I just wanted to point that out again. I just want to point it out that I beat that boss in 3 or 4 tries by myself. No big deal. I beat the hardest boss that From Software ever did 3 or 4 tries. But she references him whenever you fight her.
Campo63 in the chat is saying you cheated your way to that title of Elden Lord.
Prove it. Prove it. Can't even if I follow a map, it can't tell me how to beat Melania in 4 tries. But anyways, can we time him out?
Is it 3 or is it 4? Is it 3 or is it 4, Adam?
It was 3 or 4. I really don't remember. It was 3 or 4.
Your story keeps changing.
It was 3 or 4. We'll just say 4 just to be safe. We'll say 4 to be safe. So yeah, time Joel out, please. Anyways, moving on to our next story. More Metroid. It's from Annie Robinson at VGC. This is specifically for this podcast and for Alex and for Chad. Nintendo Switch Online's next Game Boy Advance title, Metroid Fusion, released on Wednesday, March 8th, Nintendo's announced. The fourth game of the 2D Metroid saga will be available for subscribers for the Twitch Online Plus expansion pack tier, which launches its Game Boy library last month. Once Fusion arrives, it will mean the full mainline 2D Metroid series is available to play on Switch. This is the game I know Alex likes.
I'm really happy. Okay. I'm really happy that Fusion is coming. I don't know if that last little bit is accurate though, because we still don't have. I guess every single mainline 2D game is on the Switch if you don't count the remakes. So like Metroid 2 is on the Switch, but not the 3DS remake, Samus Returns.
Yeah. I think they just mean all
the original Metroid is on the Switch, but not the Game Boy Advance remake, Zero Mission. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So I know that you like Fusion, but I remember when I first got on this show that you guys were actively trying to play this, and this game was impossible to find, right?
Yeah, you had to like be an ambassador on the 3DS. Like you had to have paid too much money on the 3DS in order to get it on the 3DS.
Was this a barf game?
Yeah. It was a barf game
back
in like
you know
2020.
What? This was, it was a barf game in late 2020. And I remember this because, I don't know if you remember this, Chad. I wrote in an essay on my thoughts on this game to Respawning Fire at a point in time where nobody was writing in their thoughts on barf. And you just saw my email in the inbox, went,
no.
Oh man, that's nice. Just completely ignored it. Never brought it up on the episode.
Else. Had to be somebody else. No, if I remember correctly, we actually did read your Metroid, your thoughts on the next barf, even though they made 0 sense because we're like, we got to read these. He wrote it in. We have to read it. So we're going to put it on the next barf.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, this one is impossible to play. I think I played it on like the actual cartridge. Like I bought a repro cartridge on eBay for like $8 and played it on my Game Boy Advance, but yeah, I'm excited. That's a great Metroid game. And I want them to hurry up and put these titles out that they said are coming soon. Because I'm not going to lie, when I made this month's barf list of like Game Boy games that were on the service, all the ones I wanted to put on there, which were like Golden Sun, Zelda, Oracle of Ages, and Oracle of Seasons, like those are the ones I wanted to put on this list, but they were all coming soon.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll have to do that next time.
Very cool. All right, on to our last story for the day. I'm fucking clever. Wolf Not Yet Among Us. From Rebecca Valentine at IGN. If you guys want to read that extra part, that's just that's just for us.
Yeah. She blocked Holden on Twitter.
Telltale Games has announced that its long-awaited sequel to The Wolf Among Us is being pushed out of 2023 in an effort to avoid crunch and team burnout, as well as accommodate a move from Unreal Engine 4 to 5. Ooh, Unreal 5, baby. Speaking to IGN, Telltale Games CEO Jamie Audley?
Sure.
When I do this, when I cock my head, I'm asking for help.
So Jamie ends in an IE, and the last name also ends in an IE, so I assume that they are pronounced similarly. So Jamie Audley.
Sure, why not?
Jamie Audley, give a dog a bone.
And explained that the team made the choice for a number of reasons, but primarily to avoid burnout or shipping an unfinished game. These are all quotes now from Jamie. Making games is difficult, and they need time to be right, and it doesn't do any of us good to ship something that's not ready. If we put this game out and it's not ready, we're going to get torn to shreds. The expectations are pretty high, and we want time to meet those, and we want to be proud of it and know that, hey, this is the best game we could have made. Let the world say what they will once it's done, but at least we know that in these times, in these conditions, this is the best game we could make.
So, for context, the original Wolf Among Us series, the final episode of that original run not aired. Well, it's the confusion is understandable because it's like episodic. The final episode of the original Wolf Among Us series released in July of 2014, which means it'll be close to a decade when this game finally comes out at this point.
Damn. I'm excited. One part of this that gets me excited, like I've never played The Wolf Among Us. Heard it's cool, great, awesome. I'm a big fan of not burning out and shipping a game when it's ready. But the idea that first of all, I didn't realize Telltale was now running on Unreal Engine, but also the move to 5 is cool. Like that's the biggest problem with Telltale games is their shitty garbage engine. So I'm glad that they're moving to 5 now. That's exciting.
Yep. Very excited. God, I absolutely adored that first game. We don't get a lot of these kind of games anymore, really. Especially, I mean, Telltale's back now, but once they folded, it was. I like playing. I'll play one of these once a year. Like Life is Strange is all right. I like it a little more than you guys. Well, that one game, but I'm not a. I preferred Telltale to what Don't Nod and them were doing. So them coming back, especially with that IP, I'm down for it. So yeah, I guess we'll get that whenever we get it. And that is it for Questlog. So I guess we're going to move on to...
Segment from Adam. It was always burning while the world's been turning.
It was 9/11. We always remember. So I've decided to get the best rated games for the month of February. And we can put it on our list of things we need to play for Game of the Year. Number 1 on the list, Metroid Prime Remaster at a 95.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's a big number, boys.
Damn, I got to prioritize that.
You should.
Alex. Oh, that's right, Alex. You 100%ed it already. That's right.
Yeah, I did.
So, Chad's the one
I
slacking.
did.
You think it deserves 95?
Oh, yeah, I'd say so. I'd definitely say so. One thing I didn't love about that game was traversing through its world gets a little fucky once you get to the end game and you're just trying to collect all the various items and power-ups and whatnot, but you have to go through all these convoluted steps to travel between zone to zone. Other than that, that game's great. 95, well-deserved.
Very cool. Next up, Hogwarts Legacy is an 88. Chad, you've played that video game.
Nice.
You hate it.
I don't hate it. I just burnt myself out on it.
I know.
No, that game's very good.
You think Game of the Year considerations, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's fucking great.
How many hours is it? Have you looked on how long to beat?
Yeah, if you mainline the story, it's like 25 hours. If you platinum it, it's like 60 to 70.
I can live with like a 40-hour like extra plus main kind of a lifestyle. I could probably do that. This one was a shocker to me, but not really because only the nerds reviewed it. Theater Rhythm, and only nerds play it. Only nerds play it too.
That's
Theater Rhythm, a final bar line, and an 87.
That game fucking slaps, y'all.
I mean, obviously we've heard firsthand how good it is. It is still a little bit surprising that it reviewed that high, because it feels like there have been a ton of these Final Fantasy music games. You'd think that at some point critics would just be like, oh yeah, it's another Theater Rhythm game.
There have been 3.
Stamp an 80 on it, and only 3, really.
This is the third. There was Theater Rhythm, the original, then there's Theater Rhythm Curtain Call, and now there's Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line.
Okay.
He's thinking of like the Kingdom Hearts fucking rhythm. There was like a ton of there's a lot of bullshit.
Kingdom Hearts
screaming.
Dancing All Night. There's Kingdom Hearts Boogie Nights with Mark Wahlberg's penis.
You're getting a few games confused. You're getting a few games confused, my friend. Anyways.
There's Theater Rhythm, Night at the Hotel. There's all kinds of... Night at the Hotel. Night at the Museum is what I meant.
There's Theater Rhythm, Red Light District. There's Theater Rhythm, Tramp Slut. There's...
all right, Octopath 2 at an 86.
Hey,
I'm excited.
I got burnt out on Octopath 1, but I saw... who did I see? Jason Schreier tweeted that this is like an incredible game, one of the best JRPGs of all time. You don't have to play Octopath 1 to play it, and he thinks that you shouldn't play Octopath 1. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because I 100% wrote off Octopath 2 based on my experience with Octopath 1. I was like, yeah, this is a game that I'm never going to finish, and all these little tiny baby stories didn't come together. But yeah, this sounds like it's a good one that I should be picking back up.
Yeah, I'm right there with you because I played the first one. I got like a couple of heroes in and I was like, I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like it wasn't paced well for like the the whole 8 hero. It's just like, it didn't feel great. But everyone's like, hey, don't bother with the first one. This fixes everything wrong with the first one. I'm like, oh, that actually sounds cool. Because I love the art style and I like the gameplay. So if it just gets rid of the bullshit, sounds good to me. Next up, Demio at an 84.
All right.
Which was the highest rated PSVR 2 launch game. The only one on PSVR 2 that was over an 80.
I don't know what this is.
This is
like a tabletop RPG VR game kind of a thing.
Yeah, and you have like a bunch of cards. I just know from like trailers and screenshots. But yeah, you have a bunch of cards in your hand, and you pick a card to play, and you put it on the board, and it like virtualizes into an enemy or an ally or
I'm looking at
item
screenshots.
It looks dope. This is the next game that I think I want to. Well, actually, the next game I'm going to pick up is the Rush of Blood successor that I can't remember the name of. But then this
Rush
one
Blood
looks
2,
good.
Blood again.
More
But yeah,
blood.
no, that was the only one that was on this list. The next one was Call of the Mountain at a 79. So I'm shocked. I really thought Call of the Mountain would be like the tent pole, whatever. Everyone's into it, but
Yeah, it's just a technical showcase. That's about it.
And then last on our list was Like a Dragon Ishin and an 81. Everyone likes Yakuza games. Here's Like a Dragon.
Yeah, you might or might not remember that Yakuza games will no longer be called Yakuza. They are going to adopt the Japanese name Like a Dragon. So that's the Yakuza series going forward. If you hear a Like a Dragon game, that's a Yakuza game.
Yeah. And this was...
I don't know what the fuck Ishin means, but it's probably Japanese for beach.
You gotta say it aggressively. Just like
Don't know what it means. I will say, looking over this list, pretty good month for the Nintendo Switch. Everyone's talking about how it's this old, antiquated console, how we really want the Switch successor, myself included. I'm definitely part of that crowd, but like Metroid Prime Remastered, Theatrhythm, Octopath 2, and of course Hogwarts Legacy is eventually coming to the platform as well. It's a pretty good month for Switch owners.
Yeah, that's right. Hogwarts Legacy launches on Switch and last gen in April, so that'll be here in about a month.
That's the thing, is that port of Hogwarts Legacy might not be so hot, but we'll see.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for that port, and I'm ready for the Midnight Suns port. I want to see what these old ports look like.
Yeah. Y'all play a demo of Theatrhythm. Just go download the demo on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 and just play a few songs. Like it's dope. Go play it.
I went to download it, and it said if you download this demo, you will never have sex again. So I don't think I'm gonna click on that button. No, thank you very much.
Sex is overrated when you have Final Fantasy songs that you can tap buttons to.
That's right. I just want my Marvel's Avengers Theatrhythm pack, and I'll buy the game. And that's it. Those are the games played this month. We've talked about them. Play some of those for Game of the Year, or don't. We're not your parents.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's time for Game On Game Show. The Game On Game Show. We play a game called Game On the Game Show. On a game show. Game. Y'all, it's been 2 months since we played this last game, and we are going to play it again this week. It's called Guess What Happened This Week. Ooh. This is a game where I take 5 things this week. 5 things that happened this week in history and video games. And it could be hardware, could be software, could be people, could be anything video game related. So I'm going to give you some clues. Y'all take a guess at what it is, and that's it. And just 5 short things, and then we'll wrap this thing up and go watch The Last of Us. All right. March 6th, which is tomorrow as we're recording this. 2012 is the year. And just call it out when you got it. We're not going to be keeping score of this one, but I will mentally keep a winner in my brain. And guess who it is? It's Alex already. 2012, March 6th, 2012. This game is proof that if you complain enough to developers that you hated the ending, they'll rewrite the game for you.
Mass Effect 3.
Mass Effect 3 is correct. Mass Effect 3 launched on PS3, Xbox 360, and PC.
So upsetting that people complained about that, because I thought the ending was fine, but then they were like, I guess you guys are going to bitch. So we should always do what people say. I thought it was great. I love the game.
Same.
I like that game a lot too. I didn't care for its ending. I thought the director's cut version was a little bit better. It feels like they probably, like, way before Mass Effect 3 really entered full production, they had a much better ending in mind, but for whatever reason that got sidetracked. I would have liked to have seen that hypothetical ending.
March 7th. It's Tuesday as we're recording this. And also for the rest of time. It'll always be Tuesday. 2017. This game only gets good when you beat it way too many times.
Persona 5?
No.
2017. So what was going on that year?
6 years ago.
It's like Switch launch, Horizon.
This game only gets good when you beat it way too many times. Alex might claim that it was always good. It just gets better.
Yeah, I know it's a reference, and I just can't think of when it is. Only gets good when you beat it a bunch. Right around the Switch launch. What would this be? This is before the Switch launch.
Splatoon 2?
It is not Splatoon 2. This is a game that originally launched exclusively on PlayStation consoles.
Okay.
However, is now on more.
Okay.
I don't know, Chad. I'm stumped. I know it's a reference, and I just cannot think of what it is.
This game is Nier Automata on PS4.
Oh, yes. Very bad game. Yes.
So, as it would happen, I beat endings A and B in that game back when we did our barf of that game back in the day. And then I meant to complete the subsequent endings of that game, but I never got around to them. I still do stand by what I said at the time, though. Like, you do need to keep playing through that game and beat all these subsequent endings to like fully understand and appreciate it. You've not beaten that game if you just rolled credits the first time.
I got 2 endings. One of them was just by deleting myself in the menu, and that gave me an ending.
That's fun. That's a fun one.
I don't know if that one counts.
March 8th, 1990. I was 2 weeks old. No, 3 weeks? 3 weeks old. I was 3 weeks old at this point.
I wasn't born yet.
This event launched 33 years ago, spawning one of the most rare and valuable NES cartridges of all time.
The Nintendo World Championships?
That is correct. Nintendo World Championships.
There we go.
I just looked on...
Or the running pad?
No. That's like
track
the
and field.
Track and field game. Yeah, this is the...
Yeah.
It's they used to have the
rare
World
cartridge.
Championships, and they have a cartridge that they created like specifically with challenges on it that...
It's like part of like Super Mario Bros, part of like Tetris, and like part of another game.
Yeah, those sell for like 100,000 a piece, right?
If you look up on eBay, there's a listing right now for 250,000 with 150 people watching it. So
Yeah, and there's like 2 different versions of the cartridges. There's like one that's like a gray cartridge with like a sticker on it, and then there's like a gold version, and like they're both like they were both given out under different circumstances, and they're both equally rare in their own way.
There was one, somebody repro'd the cartridge. I was looking on eBay. Somebody repro'd the game, so it's not an original. Like, they got the ROM, put it on a cartridge, and they got it signed by somebody that's important. And it's now, like, going for $10,000 or something. So,
Jesus.
2 more to go. March 9th, 1996. I was just over 6 years old at this point. 3 weeks past 6 years old. This game launched, and for one young boy in Charlotte, North Carolina, spawned an obsession with the world's most criminally underrepresented character in all of Nintendo history, even going so far as to make one of his many AOL Instant Messenger screen names in its honor.
Grim, with 2 M's.
No, it was not enough for Doom movie.
96.
1996.
So is this Super NES, or is this still normal NES? Super NES, period. A game that Chad likes as a kid. What came out in 96?
Can you repeat the prompt again?
This game launched and, for one young boy in Charlotte, North Carolina, spawned an obsession with the world's most criminally underrepresented character in all of Nintendo history, even going so far as to make one of his many AOL Instant Messenger screen names in its honor.
Wario Land 1.
No?
It's tough because this is the same year that the Nintendo 64 releases. So, like, either this is like an obscure, like, late era SNES game, or like an obscure early era Nintendo 64
Well, that would have been in the fall,
game.
right?
Right.
So
I will tell you, this character has only ever showed up in this game and as a Mii costume in Super Smash Bros.
Oh, that fucking guy from RPG. What's his name? Super Mario RPG. That guy.
The game is Super Mario RPG. This is when it launched in Japan. And Gino. Yeah, one of my many screen names was Gino, the number 2 Destroy.
Spumoni. Oh, Gino 2 Destroy.
Gino 2 Spumoni. Oh man! All right, final one. March 10th. Oh fuck! I didn't write the year for this one down. Hold please. I'm gonna click this link and see. March 10th, 2009. March 10th, 2009.
Ooh.
He's getting ready to graduate high school.
This gory... Oh, no. 2009, I was junior year of college. No, this was, end of my sophomore year of college at this point.
What? We're the same age. We graduated high school in 2009.
I skipped first grade, so I was a year younger than everyone else in my grade.
Okay.
Go
for it.
March 10th, 2009. Sorry, no one's ever going to see this note but me, but I had to make sure I typed the year in there. This gory, stylized game was supposed to prove that Wii games can be for grown-ups.
Mad World.
It is Mad World.
There we go.
That's right.
That's what happens when you have Wii brain rot and you remember every game that came out for that console.
Separate Steel 2.
Wii brain
No,
rot.
Red Steel 2. Not Separate Steel. Red Steel 2.
Alex, I've been trying to remember the name of this game on multiple occasions in the last 2 or 3 years. What is the name of the game that was supposed to be like a shooter? It's like, this is supposed to be the shooter that makes shooters on Wii good. It's like the C something.
Oh, the
Conduit?
The Conduit.
Yes.
Yeah.
I laughed instinctively trying to remember it because, like, by all accounts, the Conduit, not a bad game, but, like, man, people really, like, both people in the press and the studio behind that game really tried to hype it up as like, yeah, we can make, like, it wasn't just we can make shooters on the Wii work. It was also like, we can like make third party, like mature games on the Wii work. And in the end, I think it was just kind of mediocre, but I think everybody kind of like rallied behind it because at the time, like third party games were really struggling on the Wii and they really wanted them to succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, never played it. I should probably try at some point. That would be an interesting barf game to do.
I think you need to.
How would we play that game? How would we play that Nintendo Wii game?
Yeah,
Man, you
I
can
don't
find
know.
a Wii at the pawn
Hold
shop
on a
for
second.
$8. Come on now.
Give me. I know we're at the end of the podcast. Just give me just a quick.
You can see how
little
much
sec.
it is on eBay or GameStop.
Yeah, I also just want to look up because this was made by High Voltage Software.
High
And then
voltage.
Yeah,
Linkin Park.
I'm just. I was curious as to whether maybe they've done like a remaster
If they're out of
HD
business.
re-release of it at some point.
I'm going to look it up too.
While y'all are looking that up, I will
Yeah, what's the next
wrap
one?
the show.
Yeah. They made the Conduit HD, but only for Android.
Hey, I can play it.
Damn. All right, I got to go buy one of those Kindle Fire tablets for $4. You can buy a 6-pack for the price of a Happy Meal.
They also, worth pointing out, they also made the Conduit 2.
I remember, yeah.
God, this game looks bad.
Again, I would love to do this as like a barf game at some point.
We just got to figure out
I think
how.
it could be fun.
All right.
All right, that's it for Game on Game Show. That is it for episode 298 of Respawn Aim Fire. Ooh, you have homework. Part of your homework is listening to the results of your homework. Patreon.com/RespawnAimFire is a place that you can go as a listener and supporter of the show and pay $1 or more and support us and get various things in return. One of the things that you get in return currently is the ability to influence what games we play for BARF every month. That's Backlog Accomplishment with Respawn and Friends, where we pick an older classic game or something that we should have played that we haven't. We want others to play. And so we put out a poll. We're trying something new this month where we also let Twitter users contribute to this poll. So Twitter is allowed to vote, and they get collectively 1 vote towards the Patreon poll. Thank goodness, because y'all did not turn out in a lot of numbers, and we also had a tie. So like Twitter broke the tie. So we are playing Wario Land 3. The Game Boy Color game Wario Land 3. Not to be confused with Super Mario Land 3 Wario Land. This is Wario Land 3. Nothing to do with Mario. All right? Play the right game. The idea behind this is that all of the games were available on the Nintendo Switch online service. So if you have that service on your Switch, you can play it. If you do not have that, you can get a cartridge, play it on your analog pocket, or you can go get a cartridge from the time capsule in Rhode Island, and then it won't work and it's busted, and that fucking
So
place.
you have to emulate
So you
it.
have to emulate it. So like legally, you bought the cartridge, and that developer saw 0 of that money. But yeah, so do that. We have more exciting Patreon perks coming with some announcements very soon, including some that will coincide with our 300th episode. The announcements will, and then the next one, the perks will follow. So stay tuned for more benefits of being a patron. you have an inherent thing where you can actually just go back in time on the Patreon thing and search for the tag wallpaper, and there are like 20 to 25 different designed, really cool RAF theme wallpapers so you can download for all of your devices as well. That's it. Thank you, Alex, for joining the show again this year.
Thank
month.
you.
Why do I keep saying year, month,
This year.
day,
Think about
week,
end of our year,
minute?
RAF end of the year awards when
That's
they're going to award me with
Elden
awards
Lord
and Alex as well.
asterisk. Best segue in the episode on March 5th, 2023.
Best
thanks
soup
again.
eater, Alex.
Best soup eater, best soup bowl. Because
haven't had a soup. Jesus. I have not had a soup on the podcast in a while, for the record.
Well, it all depends on what you define as a soup.
Sure. All right.
That's it. Alex, where can folks find you outside of here?
You can find me over on Twitter at Alex Kozina, AlexKozina. I also just want to briefly say, I did a little bit more digging into the whole conduit situation.
Okay.
I know we were taking the piss out of it a little bit earlier. The thing about the original Conduit, though, and its sequel, Conduit 2, is apparently they made use of the Quantum 3 engine, which was a video game engine that was designed by High Voltage Software specifically for the Wii, because they wanted to make an engine that was really optimized for the console so they could like make a really fine-looking like first-person shooter series on it. And like all genuineness, like it kind of sucks that this series didn't really take off and they kind of ran into some troubles after the fact, because I don't know if you know this, but the plan was originally they were going to work on what eventually became Splatoon. They were collaborating with Nintendo on a shooter for what would become the Wii U. And basically there was like a leaker within the company that leaked to IGN or some other news site that they were collaborating with Nintendo. Nintendo got cold feet because they're like, we don't want a whole ton of leakers. We, run a really tight ship. And basically they got ties with High Voltage Software because of that, which is too bad because it seemed like they really pumped a lot of time and effort into trying to make solid enough Wii shooters, but didn't pay off.
All that R&D for an engine that they created for the Conduit and the Conduit 2. Poops. All right, everyone. Well, that's it. Thanks for listening. Until next time, here's our usual sign off. Go watch The Last of Us right now. Are you listening to this on demand? Have you seen this week's episode? Go watch it. Go watch it on HBO Max. It's fun for the whole family. You can get it for $15.99 a month after the price increase, and you don't have to pay extra if you subscribe through the iOS App Store, like Spotify makes you do, where they make you pay like $4 extra for your subscription to cover the cost of the 30% cut that Apple or the Google Play Store take from it. Like you don't have to worry. No matter where you subscribe to HBO Max, it's always the same great low price for all of that great content, including The Last of Us, starring Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey, which you should absolutely be watching. Go back and watch all the episodes, all 8 of them. And if you're listening to this next week, like go watch the whole series, support them, and tweet.
Can I cut my recording down? Can I cut my recording?
Not yet.
No,
Okay,
we're
now
not
you
done
can.
yet. Twisted Metal coming to Peacock later this fall.